Luffy is about to unlock the strongest Haki in all of One Piece, because if he doesn't, all of Elbaf, including the entire Straw Hat crew, are dead. Because Balls, the prediction Haki, was right once again. Imu-sama himself has shown up to Elbaf claiming to annihilate everyone using the powers of a god, but Oda wasn't done yet with the amount of peak we witnessed as Gaban versus Sommers is in full swing. As one of the strongest men in the entire world uses 100% of his power while farming aura with the line, "I'm rusty." If this is rusty, what kind of beasts, monsters were Roger, Garp, and especially Roxy Zebek in their prime, bro? What do you mean rusty? And it's not just me who was shocked after watching this, okay? Everyone is baffled after noticing that the damage Gaban just dealt to Sommers is not healing. Even after Sommers creates a vine barrier, Gaban chases after him, chopping him up like a pizza. Saint Diddy at this point is stun locked. Not only is his healing gone, but just the mere sight of Gaban has given him PTSD, it seems. Because according to Balls the Prediction Haki, Sommers was present at God Valley 38 years ago. So he is well aware of the threat Gaban poses to him. And this threat is insane, because even after Sommers uses two of his special moves, Thorn Rush and Hell of the Crimson Lotus, at the same time, Gaban does not even care. The whole ground is riddled with thorns. So bro just jumps in the air, cutting Sommers in half. Did this dude just four-shot one of Imu's strongest? Hold up. So one shot from last chapter, second on the barrier, third while Nami glazes him, and finally the fourth. Oh my god, he four-shotted one of the gods. He's rusty, by the way.
Look at this. Look at this, it's perfect!
And this level of power is all thanks to the old head's utilization of Haki, because Oda has made it a point to specifically highlight black Haki lightning oozing out of Gaban's axes on every hit. Usually, whenever we want to find out if a character is using Conquerors, we have to like get a magnifying glass and like look at every little like string of light and be like, oh, is that black lightning? Oh, that's definitely not black lightning. No way 500 has Conquerors. But with Gaban, it's so clear that he's using an advanced form of Conquerors with all these black lightning. There's like so many of these lightnings all around his axe. This is definitely one of the special secrets behind why Saint Diddy isn't healing. And in my last video, I broke down what I believe is the final evolution of God Haki, a level so powerful, it doesn't just hit harder, it rewrites reality itself. How? Well, by canceling out the very frequency devil fruits operate on. Now, if that sounds far-fetched, you must be new around here, it really shouldn't, because in One Piece, everything is infused with Haki. Some things resonate louder than others, sure, but it's always there. From the breath of all things to the voice of all things, a deeper force connects everything. And devil fruits, they are not just powers, they are manifestations of that same force. Reality bending wills born from human dreams, just as Vegapunk explained back in chapter 1066. These fruits let users conjure fire, reshape landscapes, or even alter emotions like the Horohoro no Mi. Haki and devil fruits are two sides of the same coin, but here's the catch. Haki fades. You can punch a Logia really hard, coat your hand with Haki and touch them, but the second you let go, they are back to being fire, manga, light, or even people who don't believe that dragons come into Elbaf. Even Rio and Advanced Conqueror's Haki doesn't have lasting impact. They push back the fruit's reality only temporarily, but Gaban's God Haki changes all of that. His strikes have a lasting imprint. That's why Saint Sommers, a God's Knight who can regenerate from anything, suddenly couldn't heal. Gaban's Haki didn't just hurt him, it cancelled out the connection his body has to the devil fruit power the ability is coming from, which is likely Imu's. Now, I know others like Mr. Morge have touched on the idea of permanent Haki, but I'm gonna take it a step further. I don't think this is the first time we have seen it. Look at Punk Hazard. After the clash between Aokiji and Akainu, the island didn't go back to normal, it stayed split in two. Magma, ice, that's not just their fruit, bruh. That's lingering, reality-altering Haki. Or Raijin Island in the New World, where it's eternally raining lightning. Maybe that's the scar left behind by someone with Enel's fruit or something similar fused with his advanced, like, god Haki. Even Luffy's Nika fruit has shown glimpses of this. Long ring, long land. Everything was stretched there, from animals to the very earth itself. That's not just cartoon logic, bro. That's residual reality manipulation. But currently, Luffy can't do that, because when he exits Gear 5, it gets rid of all of his awakening powers. The world snaps back to normal. Like, all of those bouncy terrains he creates, they're not bouncy anymore. But what if this new level of God Haki, it makes it so if Luffy wills it, that bouncy land is gonna stay bouncy. Something he stretches is gonna stay stretched. Cause where is my dude's drippy sunglasses or that baseball bat he created? What if it allows a user to not only erase devil fruit effects mid-battle, but also preserve the changes made by awakened fruits bending the world permanently? But to reach this level of power, the Straw Hats and especially Luffy will need to learn about it. And so Chopper is on the case. Although Jinbei, Robin, Nami, Brook, they all saw what Gaban just did, they are all still trapped by Summer's vine, which suggests that even though Gaban beat the knight, he isn't actually dead or unconscious. Gaban was only able to stop the regeneration but not kill him, because the old head was in a rush to save the kids, including his own son Colon. Meanwhile, Saint Killingham, the guy with the deer looking devil fruit, has a bow that shoots a flaming arrow into the library of Elbaf, as the giants just sit there and watch their history and culture burn away. This is especially traumatic for Robin, as the images are reminiscent of the burning of Ohara. She met her best friend Saul once again in a land which cherished knowledge and history as much as her mother and the people of Ohara. But now, just as she showed up, the curse of the demon child Robin has repeated once more. Do you guys remember the reason why Robin gave herself to the government back in Water 7? It was to save the rest of the crew, whom she thought would suffer, as she only brought doom to everyone around her as the demon child. This belief was so core to Robin that she actively sought to unalive herself until Luffy and the gang showed her that they accept Robin even through the consequences of her bounty and abilities bring. Now, this fear of Robin's has reignited once more. That's why it's so personal to her. So I believe that she, Jinbei's water, and Nami's rain will play an integral part in saving the library of Elbaf. And Usopp, you know, that this Elbaf's his arc, right guys? He's gonna be there too. He's gonna carry the buckets of water.
That's bait.
But before that happens, Rania, the little girl Gunko is about to drop to hell, has been saved from her fate. To which Gunko is like, your life is saved. Come on, you gotta be happy. I didn't drop you to hell. Why are you crying? But how can Rania be happy when the books and library she loved so much were destroyed to save her? She literally apologizes for being alive, which is a parallel to how Robin felt for being the only survivor of the Ohara incident. The things that are going through her head right now is basically like, why and how does she matter more than the knowledge of Elbaf, the entire culture? There is a sense of guilt there as it weighs on you. However, it's not her fault, but the Gods Knights and Imu who want to oppress them with any means possible, using the giant's value of life against them like a cruel weapon. Even Gaban echoes this as he jumps into a fight against Gunko, stating that culture, history, even military might doesn't give them the right to take. Gunko's answer to this is just as messed up as you'd expect. Don't they want the children freed? So it's kind of like a deal, right? We burn your country and take you as slaves, at least you get to live though. But in all honesty, it's only an illusion of choice. When there are oppressors though, there are also the ones who come with the hope of freedom, and so Scopper Gaban is here. Colin is ecstatic, claiming that he is stronger than everybody else's father, which is true, as the only giant I can imagine being stronger than Gaban is Loki, but he has virgin energy. Even still, Gunko is smart, so she uses Colon to fight against Gaban as she jumps onto the kid, threatening his life if Gaban doesn't give up. This is the old man's last chance. If he acts now in defeating Gunko, the children are freed, thus the giants won't be compelled to spread the fire even more. He needs to strike in an instant though, not giving Gunko even a second to counter and kill Colon in the process. However, it's not that easy. As Gunko says, a life taken cannot be returned. Gaban thinks back to the birth of Colon as the feeling of this kid being the greatest treasure in the whole world flashes in front of him. Mind you, this dude has seen the One Piece, proving once again that the bonds of a parent with their child and family are stronger and more important than any force in the entire world of One Piece. This is the Haki wavelength of love. Gaban's love for Colon stops him from striking Gunko as it could risk the life of his greatest treasure. This was the only weakness of Scopper Gaban. In an instant, Gunko shoots 2 arrows through Gaban, dropping him like a fly. We honestly should have seen this coming. The main themes of One Piece, and especially this final saga, has been about the force of love. The love between Kuma and Ginny and how that was stolen. The love between Bonnie and Kuma, which was stolen. The love between King Cobra and the people of Alabasta. Can you guys guess it? Yeah, it was stolen because of his death. And now the love between Gaban and Colon was used by Gunko to kill him. He's not dead. I'll explain it later. Every scenario of love being taken away from the world right now, we can trace back the origin point to Emu and the world government. Is low-key like because Lily didn't fuck with Emu 800 years ago, now bro and his entire org are on a mission to take all love and life from the world with their oppression. Monkey Debbie Dragon even gave us this warning during the Kuma flashback, saying that a child is a parent's greatest weakness. That's why he chose to become a deadbeat. This was a 5D chess move, something we can only expect from one of the greatest of all time. He's on that LeBron level right now. He not only got to smash, but by going out to buy milk, there is no weakness to exploit. And you can become a go-to by going to thedeepvault.com and buying these banger Black Clover posters and the Royal Capital or Hodge Village posters. We even have a Blue Lock facility travel poster now. These are honestly amazing gifts you can give as well. And you can get 15% off with code DEADBEAT on all posters. Act fast though, because the deal isn't here for long. And if we get a lot of support on these posters, maybe I'll be allowed to drop the Dragon Goat poster. Who knows? Who knows? Just a thought. Shut your With Gaban gone, there is literally no one in the Sun Realm who can go against these gods' knights. However, something interesting happens to Gunko. As Colon screams for his father, Gunko sees something in her memory. A flashback to her own father who looks to be hurt and she's screaming for him. The crazier part though is that Brook is there with her on the panel right next to it, which when she was a little girl. Yep, no wonder Brook mentioned that Gunko looked familiar to him and he didn't even ask to see her panties. So is he her father? No, I don't think so. Before Brook was a pirate, he was born 90 years ago in the West Blue. Here, he was the leader of a battle convoy in a mysterious kingdom. That's where he learned swordplay and got his sense of justice. And back in chapter 1085, Brook casually mentioned that he's heard of the Gods Knights, which makes no sense unless his kingdom was attacked by them. Just like Elbaf is being attacked right now. Gunko, well, she was probably a noble or a royal child and watched her kingdom fall. While her father was executed, she was screaming for him, just like Colon is screaming for his dad, triggering Gunko's suppressed memories. Back then, little Gunko found comfort in something simple: Brook's music. The same tunes he plays now as Soul King, she heard them as a child. That's why she flinches and froze upon seeing him. These two factors came together for her switch up. He's a link to her humanity, similar to how music makes us feel a certain emotion. The sight of Brook has brought her buried emotions and memories back. So why didn't she remember any of this until now? Well, because of Emu. Gunko has immortality just like the rest of the Gods Knights, meaning she has a connection to Emu. When doing this, Emu likely had to get rid of memories that could influence her allegiance to the government. Because why the hell would you support the entity that's literally just destroyed your kingdom, right? Gunko would definitely fight back mentally. Furthermore, Gunko's specialness among the knights is something we have spoken about at length strength ever since her introduction, as while the other knights have the titles of saint, Gunko doesn't. She doesn't even have a last name. Let's not forget about her heterochromatic eyes either, with those emu-like double iris. We know from Hakuba and Cavendish that these irises hint at another soul or personality lurking within a person. And once again, Balls Deep prediction Haki is correct, because Emu shows up possessing Gunko. We predicted this like a month ago, guys, on chapter 1146, and honestly have been yapping about it for months that Gunko is Emu, okay? Because as we all know, Emu likely has the devil no me, because we saw that triangular Satan tail in his fight against Flame Emperor Sabo at the throne room. We can also clearly see on the mural that Emu is depicted as a devil with horns and all of that, so it makes sense that he would have the ability to possess the one who have made deals with him. That's how Emu's own immortality, which was given to him through the Ope no Mi surgery, can be transferred around to his homies. They made a deal with the devil for immortality. Now, this possession theory brings me to another Balls Deep prediction. It's very possible that Emu is actually possessing Nefertari D. Lily, because look at this picture of Gunko with a full blacked out face and everything. The vibe is uncanny. And now look at this picture of Lily. They look very similar. Furthermore, Gunko and the children are so important for Emu because I believe he only possesses those who have barely any Haki or will, especially ones who have been brainwashed or their memories wiped like Gunko. So, or maybe she's a clone similar to Stussy who is regaining memories from the original now. That's why Emu can just possess Gunko instantly, while Emu didn't do that with the Gorosei even after their fuck up in Egghead to stop the broadcast. Finally, there's one more possibility for how Emu can take over Gunko like this. We have seen this being done by Law using the Ope no Mi in Punk Hazard. Faibanji was inside of Nam, in a way possessing her, alongside all the others whose personalities were swapped. This showed us that one's soul or personality is a tangible part of being in the world of One Piece. So Emu, who has had the immortality surgery, has access to some of the Ope no Mi's powers like swapping hearts. This Emu possession proves that double iris means a swapping or storage of two souls or personalities, giving us a hint that the reason for Mihawk having the double iris could be due to him being Nerona Mihawk, or a vessel just like Gunko who rejected Emu, or that he has become one with his sword Yoru, where the sword's own soul can take over Mihawk, becoming one with the blade. But that's a whole video on its own. Let me know in the comments below if you want that. What I do want to talk about is why Emu just showed up here though, because my goat, say it with me, Monkey Deadbeat Dragon has attacked Marie Schwa. Okay, Emu says the Holy Land is burning, so it could be Blackbeard, but the agenda says dragon, because who has fire? The Flame Emperor Sabo, who made sure to start a whole blockade of food to Marishwa? Dragon. And the Revolutionary Army, who said he was gonna make his move now? Mr. Deadbeat himself, who is a 5-head military strategist that would follow the words of Sun Tzu and attack the enemy where some of their forces, i.e. the God's Knights, are away in Elbaf? Monkey Deadbeat Dragon. In a way, if the fire was caused by Dragon, this would mean that Dragon came to Elbaf, right? Like in the Elbaf arc. So like, I was right. Dragon came to Elbaf. Seriously though, there is some big trouble in the Holy Land for Emu to literally come so that the rest of the knights can leave quick to help out. A big force has moved, however, something isn't adding up. The God's Knights just got to Elbaf. Like, they popped into the castle, went to Loki, and now are in the Sun World. With Gunko's arrow flying, this would take at most a few hours. Shamrock was recalled just a bit ago as well, so how has the situation changed so drastically now? Why not ask the rest of them to leave with Shamrock? Why send 2 extra knights if things were so dire? Well, remember that little quote of Louis Arnaud Oda slapped onto the final page when we entered Elbaf? Do not linger there for too long. What if only a few days have passed in Elbaf, but weeks have gone by outside? Just like how giants can live 3x the amount of humans, Elbaf might have a time-altering property which causes this time dilation. Whatever might be the case, I believe that Luffy will learn about this new Haki that can damage the the God's Knights from Gaban, as he's literally falling into the underworld, and since Chopper is the doctor jumping in to save him, he will live, imparting the knowledge to the gang. After which, an inverse of Sabaody will occur, with Luffy saving one of the wings of the Pirate Kings instead of the other way around, slapping Imu's control off of Gunko, not only saving her, but freeing her memories. Man, I feel like this chapter was probably the best chapter this entire year. Man, Gaban's fight was legendary. That anime episode is gonna be peak. Low-key, it feels like we're living through history right now. It's like, imagine reading Naruto weekly when Pain attacked the village, or doing Marineford. Right now, it feels like we're living through a legendary like moment in One Piece right now, that 30 years later, we're gonna tell our kids like, yeah, I was there reading weekly when Imu showed up in Elbaf, when Monkey that beat Dragon showed up in Elbaf, you know? If you enjoyed this video, go watch the other One Piece video on screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.